Hey guys, welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another reaction request. Now this one right here is pretty special because Rory Gallagher, it was his birthday a couple days ago, and Nora, aka Naughty Nora, wants to hear Rory Gallagher celebrating Rory's 75th, famous guitarist on Rory Gallagher. This is what she had to say. Hi Faith, not sure if there's enough time for this reaction, but March 2nd marks Rory Gallagher's 75th birthday. Thought you might enjoy reacting to what other notable guitarists have to say about him. Although it does begin with his brother recalling the time when the Rolling Stones wanted to bring Rory into the band after Mick Taylor left. Happy birthday, Rory. Miss you every day. Guys, this is exciting. It's great to, see Rory getting that recognition. If you ever watched any of my Rory reactions, one thing I've always said is I always felt like he just doesn't get the love he deserves. So this right here is awesome because that means that people are respecting the greatness that is Rory. So without further ado, let's go ahead and dive into this from me, Naughty Nora, and all of you. Let's get off tap.
A few moments later.
Rory Gallagher was probably one of the greatest guitar players of all time. However, he's also been referred as the guitarist you've probably never heard of. And even though while that may be, plenty of guitar players from the past and present have been influenced by him. Here's just a few and what they've said about the great and amazing Rory Gallagher. Number 7, Donald Gallagher.
Like the time when Mick Taylor left the Stones, the big question around the world is who's going to replace Mick Taylor? And I went upstairs and I remember Rory had gone to bed and I woke Rory and I said, Rory,
his brother.
You won't believe this, it's Ian Stewart is on the phone. I said, the Stones want you. And he wouldn't answer the phone, he thought it, because I was always pulling pranks. I had to go back down and keep talking to Ian Stewart until Rory eventually came down and sort of had a conversation. They wanted him to go to Rotterdam in Holland and start recording in Ireland. He said, I know the Stones, I know music. They're not going to, they're just going to, they want me to. I said, Rory, don't be crazy. And he did. He literally took a small little Fender Champ amplifier and his Stratocaster guitar and got on the plane to Rotterdam by himself. And I think he was there for 3 or 4 nights. And the situation was unresolved because what was occurred is that at that time there was a little bit of acrimony between Jagger and Richards. And I think Jagger from Rory...
Jesus, the camera close enough to his freaking head?
Great
what the hell? It's like, hey, let's zoom in, let's get a real close-up of his forehead.
And musically they admired him because they had tried to sign him to their record label earlier on. And but the sessions would start at Keith Richard hours, 3 in the morning or whatever. And so after the second night, Rory sort of said, well, Marshall Chess, who was then sort of looking after the Stones in a management capacity, they were all, the press started to run, the story started to leak out. So I still have the press cuttings in the European ones. The story broke first. And so Rory said to Mick Jagger, he said, look, what am I going to do? I've got this tour in Japan. I've got to leave tomorrow at some point. But he said, oh, well, look, I want you in. Will you go up and talk to Keith? Because it's got to be Keith's decision as well. And so they left. The terrible thing is that Rory went up to Keith's room and sort of went into Keith's room and tried to wake Keith, who was comatose, and waited up and sort of went back a couple of hours later and didn't get any sleep himself. And he just couldn't come around, and then he figured, well, I've got to get on the plane. Rory flew back. I met him at Heathrow Airport in London. Came off the flight in Rotterdam and we got on the plane for Tokyo. That's the type of schedule he kept.
Wow.
So I always gave him a lot of stick. I said, if you had let me come, you'd... And he said, we would have had to cancel the Japanese tour, what about the kid? And I said, hey, you could have all of us come back and done that a few months later and well, would everybody...
Does anyone know if his brother plays as well? Is his brother a guitarist or something? Let me know in the comments below.
We just, sold bigger venues, actually. If you come,
Number 6, Brian May.
Marquee Club. Well, it was the legendary place in those days. That's where everybody played who was anybody. And me and my mates used to go down there whenever we could, I beg your pardon. And certain nights would be certain things. Mr. G was there, the manager, saying this is so-and-so night or whatever. And Thursday night for a long time, I think it was the Nice. We used to go and see the Nice every week. And Rory Gallagher also had a residency there. We used to go and see Rory every week, and just open-mouthed, I think, at the way the guy played and the person he was, and the way he interacted with his audience, the way he could just hold people by tapping his foot or clicking his fingers or whatever he did. He was just a magician.
Yep.
As far as we were concerned, as an entertainer.
I'm pretty sure I've used those words to describe him too. Magician.
Funnily enough, he probably wouldn't think of himself as an entertainer. He's such a pure man, Rory, He thought of himself as a musician. He never made any compromises towards building himself into a superstar. But we went there every week and saw Taste, and they were magnificent. It was incredible.
You mentioned the relationship with the audience there. Was that something you hadn't seen before? How would you analyse that? What's special about it? What had he done that others hadn't done?
I think Rory's elemental, and people could sense that. There's no pretense whatsoever. There's no showmanship which hides what the real man is. And he just came on there and played, and he would talk, and you felt like you had a one-to-one relationship with him. That's the way I see it. And his playing was incredible. He's one of the very few people of that time who could make his guitar do anything, it seemed. It just seemed to be magic. I remember looking at this battered Stratocaster and thinking, how does that come out of there? How does he do that? And we were boys. We hung around and hid when the marquee was at turning out time. And then we kind of strolled over as if we ought to be there and said, oh, hello, Mr. Gallagher, can we chat to you or whatever? I don't know what we said. But he was incredibly patient. He was packing up his own gear. That's the kind of man he was. He was packing up his guitar and his amp and everything. And he had the grace to speak to us. He didn't go, get out of here. What are you boys doing in here? And I said, how do you get the sound? What is it? And he said, oh, it's very simple. I have this guitar. I have this I have this amp, AC30 amp, which is like nothing else. And I have this little treble booster, little range master treble booster. And that's where the sound comes from.
Wow.
So I went straight out and got the AC30 and the treble booster and my own homemade guitar, thinking, I wonder if this is going to work. But basically it did. As soon as I plugged in, I went to a place called Take 5 in Warden Street, not far from
Wow.
King.
That's awesome hearing Bri say that he was like basically inspired by Rory to freaking, that's helped what Rory was using to help improve his own sound. And what that's awesome. I didn't know Bri was, like so influenced by Rory like that. That is dope, man. See, that's the respect he deserves, man. I love it.
And found a battered old AC30 which was for sale for 50 quid, I think.
50
Plugged
quids.
a Range Master treble booster into it with my guitar, and it gave me what I wanted. It made the guitar speak. So it was Rory that gave me my sound, and that's the sound.
What?
I still have.
Bri just said Rory gave him his sound, bro. Whoa, that's huge. That is freaking huge, man. To hear Bri, one of the greatest of all time, say that. Whoa.
Still have. That's my voice. So I have so much to be thankful to Rory.
Wow.
Cool. I took a lot more from Rory, really, because a lot of his technique was snapping on and snapping off, and that fascinated me. It seemed to make the guitar much more flexible.
Whoa.
So the way he did his riffs, like ding 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 ding, Morning Sun, and ding 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 ding, what's going on, ding 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 ding, that I incorporated into my playing. I learned that directly from him. So something like Tie Your Mother Down is really a direct lineage from Rory. Tell you what else I learned from Rory? Don't be an ass. So many people you go up to him and say, can I talk to you in a bit? Oh, I'm too busy, whatever. Rory was always a gentleman. He always had time for his fans, and many, many times I bumped into him. He was always the same. I think the last time I bumped into him was in some studio in Shepherd's Bush somewhere, and it was exactly the same. He said, "Oh, hello, Brian, how you going?" And he had such a gentlemanly, gentle way about him, Rory. And I thought, well, he's treated me like that because we know each other now. But it went through my mind. He treated me exactly the same when I was a kid, and he was a star.
Wow.
He was always polite. He was always caring. Always had time to speak to you. So that's what I took from Rory. He's a gentleman, and he had time for people. And my God, could he play that guitar? He did it for the love. And I saw him all over the world. We used to bump into him. I remember seeing him in Boston, and it was the time of Aerosmith and us. We were, the bands of the time. We were quite showy. We were consciously putting on a show. Rory had a very pure, basic attitude. It was like, I go there and I play my songs, and I speak to the audience, and give me a couple of lights, give me my amps, and that was enough. He wasn't into that kind of thing. He was not into showbiz.
Oh, wow.
And that's part of him, and that's part of what.
And you don't need that when you're as good as Rory, man, because Rory be just freaking, he is the whole show. He's the whole effing show, bro. Seriously, he didn't need all the fancy lights and all that. He just go out there and be like, "Have you not been entertained?" That's all he has to do. Just do his thing, man.
Of what you have to love and respect. Of course he didn't get the recognition he deserved. No way.
See?
Because I think he sidestepped the things which would have made him...
I just said that. I've said that a million times in my reactions. He just never gets the freaking respect he deserves.
A Bruce Springsteen or an Aerosmith or whatever. He just was always content to play. And he liked the club environment, that's obvious. He probably wouldn't have enjoyed that much doing stadium shows because it would have taken his intimacy away. I don't know, I'm sort of guessing, but the guy had no... Rory didn't... Well, the Rory Gallagher that I saw didn't have ambition outside being a fabulous musician, playing fabulous music. His taste is so much focused on Rory. It is his band, it is his songs, it's him who's doing the talking and who's doing the playing and the singing. So I don't know if we were conscious of the interactions between the members of Taste. And I also don't know what happened when they split up. I wasn't a party to that. I don't know what feelings were like. But seeing Rory Gallagher with his subsequent bands, I didn't get a terrible sense of loss. Maybe that's a terrible thing to say. I think Taste is still some of my favourite music that Rory made. But I enjoyed seeing him with his other bands as well, just as much, probably, because I guess I didn't really take my eyes off Rory.
Yep.
Yeah, I think
That's
whenever I bumped into Rory, I was
Take your eyes off
conscious
Rory, man, when he's doing his
that I
thing.
wanted to let him know how much he'd given me. Yeah, so I generally did make a point, and he was always like, "Oh, right." Very self-effacing was Rory, but yeah, I would make one, and I'm glad I did. I'm glad I took the opportunity. My God, he was taken from us so prematurely. It's awful. It's so sad. Yeah, what a great guy. Right? Yeah, I learned it. There's not many guitars that I actually learned, but I did. Ding, 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 ding. It's a nice little exercise for anybody who's learning the guitar. Play that track. What's going on? It has a nice way of pounding as well. It's a real out and out rocker. You can sing the hell out of it. It really does.
Sugar Mama is all right.
Yeah, I don't know it so well.
And of course, Morning Sun, which you touched on.
Morning Sun is great. And Morning Sun, of course, has that syncopation, which is fairly rare in sort of great rock hits. It's much more blues than rock, and much more blues than pop, of course. I think Rory never could have been called a pop star. He never came close to being a pop star by choice. And yeah, that's one of my favourites, always will be. And we still play it at soundchecks. It'll always be inside me. I didn't know Rory well enough to know what his private life was like. I don't know what his love life was like, but I get the impression he was so dedicated to playing. It probably had to be a very much a second thing for him, a secondary activity. I feel like I know Rory probably better through Donald since he went, because Donald's told me a few things about him as a person, which are revealing, and I think there is a lot of sadness in his songs, but Rory probably would always understate that because it was about performance and connection. He wouldn't wallow in something being sad.
Number 5, Gary Moore.
One of the things that was crucial for me, I got from Rory Gallagher, was the idea.
Jeez, this guy, whoever mixed this freaking interview thing, you gotta learn how to level the freaking volumes, bro. Like up, down, all around. Makes it just annoying a little bit. You know what I'm saying? I'm not, it's a good interview. It just, could be better. Not because of the people that are being interviewed, but because whoever's mixing skills just, hey, look, I'm a professional. What can I say? All right, let's go.
The idea of like being a guitar player for life and living it, and it being your calling and like a vocation, really, and it being the most important thing in your life.
Rory Gallagher always ploughed his own furrow, touring constantly, turning his back on chances of commercial success to pursue his own music. So expect to hear elements of folk and jazz, ragtime and R&B in what he did, but especially the blues.
Number 4, Joe Bonamassa.
We got some Rory Gallagher in the U.S. We didn't get a whole lot of it. There's a much more extensive catalog that's available in Europe than it was ever in the States. But the one that really stuck out to me that really I wore out and listened to death was Irish Tour 74, which I think is just, it really is him in essence, because it's like, he's such a blue...
Why, Bri should have been first. I hope this ain't in no order of importance, because seriously, they should have put Bri last. And, matter of fact, did they even need to put these other people? I ain't hating, Bri is the guy, you know what I mean?
A blue collar guy, and you could just hear it on that record, and just gutsy performance, and it was just brilliant from the word go. So I mean, he's one of my heroes, and kind of he's known, but he's not as well known in the States as he is here. But he's truly an icon to me. So
Number 3, Alex Lifeson.
He was in a lot of ways a great rock guitarist. He had so much energy in his playing, and he wasn't the typical blues player. He had a style that was all his own, and it was a reflection of his soul, truly. I would watch Rory every night. We were the opening act on a 3-act show, so we were only on usually for about 20 minutes or half an hour or something. But I would watch his set and go back to the dressing room and just play, just because I was so inspired by watching him play.
And that's really cool. That's when you know that, this person is definitely worthy of being just regarded as one of the greats of all times, because greats inspire you. They motivate you. They give you this feeling of, oh my gosh, man, I want to do that too. And that is so freaking awesome. And, Rory, as great as he is, when you're watching him do his thing, you just literally are in awe, and you're like, oh my gosh, man, wow. Like, you can't help but be inspired and motivated by someone who's so captivating and awesome and incredible. Love it.
Like, the guy, honest to God, his soul was just amazing. And to see him close his eyes and just get lost in his playing was truly, truly remarkable. There was so much respect for them, and we returned the favor. We made sure that they got everything that they ever needed on any show, complete freedom to do whatever they wanted. We were so honored to have them out with us. And he and I talked about all kinds of things, politics and family, and he being from Ireland and the divisions and sectarian divisions in Ireland, and my ancestors coming from the former Yugoslavia and the same sort of issues there. We spent hours and hours talking about that sort of stuff. He bought me a copy of Flann O'Brien's The Third Policeman, and I was really touched by that he would think to do that. And he said, you've got to read it. He's a great satirist, and his books are great, and it really gives you an eye for that Irish humor and where it comes from. And I read the book, and I got back to him, days later, I guess, and said I really enjoyed it. We had a bit of a break. He went back to Ireland and then came back to North America. He bought me the whole series. and gave me a whole series of books. He said, if you like that one so much, read these. You'll love them as well. That was the kind of guy he was. It wasn't just about the music and the band and his guitar and all of that stuff. It was his personality and his soul, and he was so thoughtful and considerate to other people, so polite. Honestly, he was such a wonderful person. Never mind his talents and skills. He was just a really, really great man.
Number 2, Slash.
It would have to be around this time that I first started picking up the guitar that I was very eager to hear.
Oops. Houston, we got a problem. And now it's fixed. Just like that. Since we're just stopped for a second, Slash, another legend, another freaking just absolute GOAT, man. Like, wow, dude. So awesome. Like, I mean, if you've got Slash, Bri, freaking vouching for you like that and talking about how great you are and how you inspired him and stuff, jeez, Louise, come on, bro.
Or, you know, good rock and roll guitar players. It was just one of these sounds that he was very raw, very visceral kind of guitar player. The kind of groove to what he did that was sort of sexy. We jammed at the Roxy in LA, and after the gig, we went back to the hotel and hung out and stuff.
He was very shy.
Yeah, but he was very shy, but he was very unassuming. He wasn't all, you know, full of himself or trying too hard to be something that he wasn't.
How did you feel when you heard he died so young?
I was shocked, to tell you the truth. It just sort of came out of the blue. It did catch me by surprise. And he just seemed so vibrant when I saw him. Rory was just a really fantastic musician, somebody who played with soul and had his own unique personality in his playing, his own unique personality as a person. And I just loved it. I just thought it was great.
Number 1, Jimmy Page.
Jimmy Page.
Well,
Freaking another GOAT, bro. Jimmy Page, too? Yo.
yeah, I liked Rory, and in actual fact, I had the real pleasure to meet him. Curiously enough, it was at our management's office in the days of the very, very early days. And he'd come up to meet up with Peter Grant, and we just had a really good chat in the reception for ages. He was a really, really lovely man, and he was a fine guitarist and a singer. I know he was really loved and cool. Sure.
Anyways, what do you guys think of the video? Was there anything that was said that surprised you or maybe you didn't know? It's unfortunate, but Roy was one of the greatest guitarists of all time, but many few people actually within the guitar community really paid homage to him, and it's a shame.
Again, that's what I've been saying, man. Go, if you guys haven't watched, go to my Off Tap Life channel. Look, I've done tons of Rory, and it's the one thing I just always felt like, man, he just never gets the love he deserved. You know, he just, to this day, he's just so underrated, man. And geez, man, you know, it's good to hear these freaking greats talk about him and show him that love and respect, man, because he's just so freaking awesome, dude.
But as we saw in the video, plenty of the greatest of all time showed their respect and their honor for Mr. Rory Gallagher. Anyways, what do you guys think of the video? Let us know in the comments down below, and until next time, thank you for watching.
Wow. What a video, man. You know, like, it's just crazy because, you know, just think about it. Just think about it for a second. Think about who was there saying, yo, he was a beast, he was great, he inspired me, he's the reason I did certain things and created my own sound, and all these other legends that you look at and you go, Slash, man, like one of the greatest of all time, Bri, one of the greatest of all time. Like, them paying that homage to Rory is freaking awesome, and something that really makes me feel happy, man, because again, he is so worthy of getting that love and that respect, man. Like, he deserves more recognition, like, you know, than he gets, man. Like, seriously, you know, he just really does. But I like, it's nice hearing people talk about him in a different sense, which is probably also why he kind of was in the shadows a bit, you know what I mean? And that's because he didn't really care for all that stuff. He didn't care about all the lights, the glamour, freaking the celebrity, the Hollywood of it, if you will. You know, he didn't care about any of that crap. He just wanted to freaking get out there, do his thing before the passion of it, for the love of it. You know, he just wanted to freaking go out and just do what he do without all the freaking BS other stuff. You know, he's like, yo, I came here to share my passion in the most humblest way possible without all the other freaking stuff, because I don't need it. I just need to come and just be me and keep it 100, you know, keep it a buck. I just love that, man. It's just something really respectable about that. And you know, I gotta tell you, you know, when you hear people like Slash and Bri, who they're part of the showy people club, you know what I mean? Because Queen, well, thanks to Freddie, they're pretty. When you think of Queen, you think, oh, freaking larger than life. Slash, man, freaking, come on. When you think of just like legendary, iconic guitarists, you can't help but not think about him. Jimmy Page, freaking hell, dude. Zeppelin, man, like seriously, one of the all-time greats. You know, this is the kind of thing I think mostly that if Rory was looking down watching this interview from heaven, this is probably the thing that maybe he would actually be excited about, is his peers just paying him some respect, you know, and knowing that they were inspired by him, or that they all held him in such high regard. That would probably do more for his soul and his excitement factor, you know, than anything else. Because again, he just seemed to be such a down-to-earth, humble person that he didn't care about, you know, winning a Grammy or any of these other things. You know, he just seemed to be more like just about the, yo man, it's about the love for what I do. It's about my passion. And I'm just here, just doing what I do for all of you. You know what I mean? I love it. I love it. This was awesome. Thank you very much, Naughty Nora, for the reaction requests. Super awesome stuff. Guys, I think you need to push that subscribe button personally. Maybe give me a thumbs up. It helps with the algorithm. Just saying, just throwing it out there. I'll catch you guys on the next one, though. As always, remember to my fullest. Keep it off tap. I'm out. We're gonna get out of here. I'll catch you guys later for another vlog.